Untitled Goose Game was never intended to be made. It started off as a joke when one of the employees went up to his coworker and said, "Let's make this a game," and slammed a picture of a goose on his desk. Okay, maybe he didn't slam it. In fact, I'm pretty sure he just showed him a stock image from his phone or computer, but I like the thought that he took the time to print it out, committed to this bit. Ironically, they managed to come up with clever ideas on how to make it into a video game. Man, who would have thought that a joke ended up being such a spark of inspiration? They made a small build for it just to see if they can make a game from their proof of concept, starting out with playing as a goose interacting with a human. And honestly, that alone is captivating. Just seeing the interaction between the goose and the human is hilarious. I mean, look at this. You can't tell me this isn't interesting. You're literally playing as a goose, wrecking people's everyday life. Oh my gosh, I can't even say that with a straight face.
You don't have a face.
This game just breaks expectations during development, from making things unintended into a reality. Not only was the picture of a goose meant to be a gag, but the name Untitled Goose Game was never intended to be real. So, when they were posting their work in progress game to YouTube, they didn't have a title for it yet. They didn't just want to call it Goose Game, so they added the word Untitled in front of it to let people know that the game doesn't have a name yet. That was the intention, but that's not really the case. Now, granted, people knew this was not the actual title. I mean, what kind of sick person would put the word Untitled in front of their name? Well, someone with a sense of humor, I guess. Like, I don't know, a goose is funny. Yeah, that's pretty funny, don't you think? That's kind of the reason why many people suggest us to keep that as the name. It just felt appropriate for the type of tone the game had. I mean, who can argue with that? The irony was there and it could be interpreted in many ways. Like, to me, I see it as the goose causing so much discord that it affected the title. Hence why it's called Untitled Goose Game, because the goose got away with that being the name of it. I'm sure everybody else can think of something better, but that's kind of what I see it as. As time passed by, House, the company that made the game, kept the name during the release. That's just beautiful. I'm so happy they did that. Oh my goodness, speaking of release day, Untitled Goose Game came out on September 20th, 2019. That was the same day The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening came out. Yeah, that game was one of the most anticipated games from Nintendo to release that year. It was a remake from a Game Boy game that nobody expected it. Nostalgia was there, it was a well-made game back then. It's the Legend of Zelda IP, so yeah, definitely gonna have a lot of people wanting to play it. There were just so many things about this game that people want. So yeah, it was highly anticipated, and it's coming out the same year as Untitled Goose Game. Man, that sucks. Legend of Zelda didn't stand a chance. Untitled Goose Game's gonna overshadow it. Like, people are gonna forget that game and only think of Untitled Goose Game. Of course, we were all joking around that the goose will take over. Well, it kinda did. There was no exact numbers, but the fact that it was #1 in the eShop showed how popular the game was. In a medium where you can play as a soldier, a hero, a plumber saving a princess, not once would I or anyone thought of wanting to play as a goose. It's kinda like what Steve Jobs said, people don't know what they want to play until you show them a goose.
That's not what he said, but alright.
Whatever, the point is, I'm glad that this game existed. Remember, Untitled Goose Game started off as a joke. There was nothing in their mind that made them want to make it, until someone brought up the goose.